So I was having a conversation with one of my siblings last night, and we were talking about how some things just didn't make sense. Just some of the stories in the Bible and why God had did certain things and how certain actions could be taken. And one of the things that were brought up was the story of Job. And so the interpretation and kind of viewing of that for him was that, like, so Satan was just like, hey, I bet this, and so God was like, put some on it, like wagering people's suffering and wagering people's pain. And so it was something that this idea didn't set well with him. And there's so many aspects and so many lessons that you can get from this story and from any type of parable, really. Everything that has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. And so one of the things that I thought was unfair, just from my end, and I've looked into certain things, was that God had hardened Pharaoh's heart to tell Moses no. And then the result of God hardening Pharaoh's heart was that people died. And I was like, this is not cool, But when it comes to anything, we don't have the capacity to understand what's really going on in the big scheme of things. Our knowledge is limited, our understanding is limited as beings. God created us, and He knows everything, past, present, and future, when it comes to who we are, and what we will be, and how things will be for each and every one of us. So today I had woken up and I wanted to share this, and I got so distracted by all these subjects, and I was like, no, right now I just got so frustrated. I was like, I'm not even gonna do a video. I'm just not. Like, I wanted to do one on beautification, I wanted to do one on God's will, and I wanted to do one I was like, I'll get to it. I'll get to that. Let me start off, let me finish what I wanted to talk about, because that's what I'm feeling passionate about today. So one thing is, do what you feel is in your heart and passionate about, if it is righteous and if it's gonna lead to good. Okay, because the heart can be treacherous. So don't just like go and like, ooh, I'm gonna follow my heart. No, that's not a good thing. But so one of the things that I woke up, like, after this was a conversation I had last night. So I woke up today and I was thinking about how many times I've been riding in the car, and the kids were like, Mom, I want this, or I don't want that. And they're just being so unreasonable. Yeah, hold on, look. So they're just being so unreasonable, and I'm like, guys, we're gonna be home in like 5 minutes. Just calm down.
Mom, can I get some coffee? Remember, do that.
I can get you coffee.
No, go hear the little protein shake, yeah, please.
Come on.
And thank you.
Let's go.
So as I was saying, so the kids will be in the car, and perhaps I had taken something from them, or I told them they have to wait till they get home, or they weren't listening, and I gave them instructions, and they continuously defied what I had to say in the store, or they were acting out. You get the point. And so I had to take something away, limit something, or tell them that they just had to have patience and wait. So they'll be in the back seat, and every single mom, parent, or grandparent, whoever's taking care of children, will understand this, that when the child is just thinking like, oh, this is forever, and the pain and that comes out of their vocal cords and just everything, it's just like, they're really feeling it. They're really feeling it. I know that we tend to be like, oh, come on, really? And that's probably like the same kind of parallel that it is when it comes to when God takes stuff from us, or when we're faced with a pain, that God has this huge understanding and scope of what our life will be, and it's only a blink. this. So this is just like the car ride home. And so, of course, for us, it feels so long and so terrible, and we're in such pain. But he knows that we're going to be home in 5 minutes. So just relax, and that's the type of like faith and attitude that we need to have. Of course, it's not easy. It's a lot easier said than done. So over the years, I really believe that we've continued to fall further and further away from God, away from understanding, just because we're so consumed by the world and distractions and technology and external influences and culture and all these things. So I think of like us today as like the 2-year-old who's in pain, and God is the parent in the front seat, and he's saying, I'm driving, just relax, just chill out, Ultimately, the parent is in charge of what's going to happen, and God's in charge of what's going to happen in our lives and in the universe. And so for Job, even though he also would have to wait, although he also was uncomfortable, didn't like the situation, he's like an older child who kind of understands more. And this is actually something that should be really read over and over and over again. The book of Job, because there's so much information. There's so much that you can read and reread. They always say that, like with novels and stuff. Like you read it and then you read it again and you catch stuff that's not there, and then you read it again and you catch stuff that's not there. Well, that's the same thing when it comes to the scriptures. And the scriptures tell us that if we seek and find gold and silver, then we're gonna find the knowledge of God. So if you're not understanding God, or you're kind of upset or confused or being like, this doesn't make sense, like, don't push God away. Don't push your understanding away because somebody else has made it appear to be something. Go to the source yourself. Seek, look, and God knows your heart. He knows each and everything about you, and you just have to put the effort. And I've given this example before. Like, you don't say, hey, child, hey, son, like, I'm going to give you the iPad and make sure you do good this semester, pay attention in class and get all A's. No, you're going to make them, as a parent, knowing children's tendencies, children's distractions, and each and everything about them, that you're like, nah, you need some whatever, that word. You need some incentive. And I'm gonna make you a promise. I'm gonna say, this is what you're gonna get at the end of this. But you need to act right, you need to do right, you need to be right. It's the same thing. Like, so of course, along the way, throughout the semester, and my son's doing good, I'm gonna surprise him with this and that, but ultimately the grand prize is at the end. And that's really what it is for us in Paradise and Jenna, that there's a grand prize. And in the meantime, when we're doing good, we're gonna be rewarded for those things. And by the act of doing good, lead to prosperity. So when we're accomplishing and doing things in the right way, automatically the centripetal force, or whatever, that however God created things, creates good things. And when you trust and have God, those bad negative forces that want to go against you are not going to affect you so much when you're really relying and really trusting on God, because He's going to be your sword and your shield. And you really need to trust and believe that, because what usually ends up happening is they're like, okay, I'm going to try this whole God thing out and faith thing, and then there's like this one little hurdle and you're like, oh, that didn't feel good. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point with Shaitan and Satan, the dark side, whatever you want to call it, is that you'll get tripped up and you'll be like, nah, I'm not into this. So, but what you really need to realize is that God is going to have your back, and that if you just make it past those first few hurdles, and God's going to be like, yeah. I mean, He obviously already knows whether you're going to do it or not, but you got to do it. Put in the work. So, all right. Well, this is your little spew for today. Thank you for watching. This is WCYC. My name is Amber Ali, and we'll see you next time.